everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio. Today I'm sharing with you day 25 of the Artist Trading Card a Day event going on, offered to you from Art Joy of Sharing Art Community on Facebook, as well as the Art Joy of Sharing LiveStream channel. And yeah, we're making ATCs every day in June 2020. This is the 4th year we've had this event. If you'd like to search it out, just search hashtag ATCAD2020, or you can put a different date at the end if you want for a different year. So today on the live stream show, we were making ATCs using distress products. And those are products from Ranger, Tim Holtz. There's a whole line of them. There's inks, there's paints, there's stains, there's sprays, there's oxides, there's all kinds of stuff. And so I decided to use my distress inks, my distress oxides, and my distress oxide sprays today. I'm using some of the distress inks here, and I just used them with the ink pad direct to the paper. And then I used one of the oxides over the top with a stencil. This stencil is, I think, designed by Ray Missingman, and it's Stencil Girl Products is a great place to get stencils that are designed by other artists for artists, and I like them a lot. So I went over the top with first with a light color of oxide and then with a darker color of oxide. And then I'm going around the edges with just the regular distress ink again in that, I think it's called Vintage Photo. And, this one is kind of a play on the idea of distressed, right? We're using distress inks and stains and sprays and all that, but also I wanted it to look a little bit vintage and old and distressed in that sort of way. So I have some coffee stained text weight paper that has lines on it. I have this dictionary page, and I'm using an illustration out of the dictionary page. Sometimes they have illustrations in them, little line drawings. And of course, the paper is old looking and, distressed looking. So that worked well for my kind of an idea of a vintage old looking something, because I thought the play on the words was funny. That's just me. I also used a little bit of that dictionary page, the words, to put across there. And then I have this little tag thing that I think is supposed to imitate a slide holder. It has a hole in the middle, and it's got, you can fold it shut, and you can sandwich something in between. So if you were making something where translucency would matter, it would be fun to put something, translucent in there, and then you'd have to be able to get that light through. In this case, I'm putting it on an ATC, so it's not going to get any light. I'm just using this little dictionary illustration. That the stencil I used was a botanical looking stencil, which in the end you can't even really see it. But this is a botanical illustration, and I thought that went along with it. So I colored the card. It's the tag. It started out kind of off-white, and I colored it with some of the rust color distress ink that I had used at the beginning. And then I'm attaching it using a copper colored mini brad, paper fastener type situation. Poked a hole, put that in. And I do end up putting a little bit of glue underneath it as well, because it would be swinging around too much. And I just wanted it to stay put. Then I used the stencil again and went kind of over the top of the tag area with some of the brown, because that rust color just seemed too orange. It didn't seem to match up very well. I guess because there wasn't enough of the rust peeking through from the background. It just didn't seem to be quite right. So I added some more of that darker brown vintage photo color. Strangely, my photographs, on one of them at least, the background almost looks purple. And I think it's just, the base of that ink turned a little bit weird when it got water on it or something. I don't know. When I saw that, I'm like, that's not right. So then I had this crocheted lace, and I put that down and glued it down, going vertically. The other stuff was all glued horizontally. I put some words on there that say "out of the house," because if you're out in the plants, you must be running around out of the house. Still thought it needed something, so I decided to use some ultra thick embossing powder, and this one is got some gold dye-based ink in it, which makes it look like that beeswax color embossing powder that Seth Apter has. I made it myself, but that's what it looks like. It gives that almost like there's honey dripping on it or something. Normally when I use this embossing powder, after it's cured, I put matte medium over the top of it to make it look less shiny and more like wax. If you put a couple coats of matte medium over the top, it mattes it down a lot. But I just left it shiny on this one. I think it looks kind of cool. I just put it across a little ways, not all over the card. And I thought it still needed something else. So I decided a flower would be good, a paper flower. And, well, I guess I put a little bit more embossing powder on it first because it down in that corner, it seemed a little bit naked. You don't want to have naked corners. That's not good. No naked corners. Still needed something. So, I guess I was looking through my little bins on the desk to see if I could find something. No, didn't find anything. So I grabbed my plastic box that has paper flowers in it. And I found one that's like the perfect color. It's kind of a beige color. I thought it went perfectly. So I glued that down with some tacky glue. And that was pretty much it for this card, which is day 25 of hashtag ATCAD2020 event. Yes, yes. And I also, of course, put my printed thing on the back that has my name, where I live, all my social media. And I wrote 25/2020 in pencil. And here comes the close-ups of this one. And you'll see that in the one picture, it looks purple. It's very strange. See? Isn't that weird? The other is not so much. But in this one, I guess the way the light was hitting it, it just looked purple. I like purple, but it shouldn't be purple. Weird. So then we were still on the show, still working. So I ended up trying out some other things with distress inks and distress oxides, and I had another blank card, and I got out some of the distress oxide inks, and I again direct to paper with the pad. This is probably, if you want to keep your pads looking super clean and nice, this probably isn't the best choice for you. You should use an applicator, but I like to get a lot of ink on there. I like to get it ground down into the paper, because this is watercolor paper, so it's kind of bumpy, and it wasn't going down in there too well. So I gave it a little spritz, and then I dried it, and that changes the colors of, because it's the oxide, that white oxidization comes up when you put the water on it, and it changes it a little bit. Then I put a stencil. Again, it's a Stencil Girl stencil. That one's is an ATC stencil that has 9 designs, designed by Pam Carricker. So I put that over it. I took a baby wipe and I wiped it back, and I ended up with these little circles on there, which I thought were cool. And then this is a little vintage, it's from an ad, a vintage ad in a magazine. And it's just the little girl bending over, and I thought she was really cute. I also had this piece of Duralar plastic that had some alcohol ink on it in kind of a grid pattern that I put up the side. And then I put the girl on, and then I put across I put, that's a barcode. I don't know where it's from or what it's from, but it's just a barcode. And I thought it looked kind of cool across there. Then the little girl, she needs to be doing something, right? She looks like she's bending over to do something, or I don't know. Anyway, I thought she must be smelling flowers. So since I had orange in the background, I decided to take a little piece of orange. This is watercolor paper, and I needed to cut it out into the shape of a pot. And if you have a pot, you should have plants. So I grabbed a scrap that had some bright green, which is similar to that twisted citron on the back. and cut them in very thin strips, just thin strips with some scissors. And I'm gluing those down first and then putting the pot over the top so it appears as if the stems are coming out of the pot. I also went around the edge of the pot because it's a thick, heavy cardstock. I didn't want the white to show, so I used a brush pen. These are the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist brush pins, which I have in a lot of different colors, and I end up using them on the entire thing. I color the girl with them. So a lot of pins today. So then I also cut out a couple little like leafy looking things to put in the pot. Then I was going to cut out some flowers, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to use Posca pins and make the flowers because everything's so small. So I got out 3 different colors, like a light orange, a dark orange, and a white, and just made like little dots, dot, 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 and made kind of conical flowers. I'm not sure what kind of flower that would be, on the ends of my stems with 3 different colors of dots. Worked pretty good. I liked it. And it matches the rest of everything because they're orange and yellowy colors. Then I decided that, oh, that's the white. I decided that I needed to put a frame around the edge. I know I did that with a dark turquoise color distress ink. There we go. Probably peacock feathers or something like that. To make a frame around the edge like I like to do with ink. My distress inks are little tiny cubes, and then my oxides are bigger ones. So when you see, then those other 2 cards that I didn't show on the video up at the top, those are made with sprays, with the distress oxide sprays and water, which is fun to do too, but I didn't end up finishing them, so I didn't show them on the video. So then the only thing left is for me to color the girl. I used a light turquoise aqua color and some orange and some skin tone and some yellow for her hair. I hope you've been enjoying this video, and if you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on those notification bells, and pin this on your artist trading card Pinterest board so that other people can find me by recommendations. You know how that works. Social media, that's a thing. I think this card is cuter than the other card, but they're both cute, and they're both just a little bit distressed and a little bit vintagey and a little bit fun. I guess I'm still coloring. So those other 2 cards, I used the Stencil Club from this month. So what is it? It's June. The June Stencil Club stencils, particularly the 6x6 on both. When I use the 6x6 on the blue one and the 9x12 on the purple and orange one up there. And all I did was spray with a few different colors of distress ink, dry it, and then put the stencil over and then mist it with water. And you get that real subtle pattern. It's super easy to do. Super fun. So I got some more stickers, and I think it says the best is yet to come from one of the Tim Holtz sticker packs. And that was the end of that card. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.